So the first presentation is going to cover the topic of cost savings, what infrared can do for your corporation. So we build the world's best cars and trucks. Except for Chrysler, they're pretty good too. Ford's is here too, so we've got the big three here. We take raw materials. We use a lot of heat. Heat can be our friend or our foe. We might be melting glass, pouring metal, oven curing our paint jobs to make a beautiful vehicle so that public will buy it. So there's so much heat involved, it's just, when you start thinking about it, it's everywhere. So we come up with our vehicle. If you look at the windshields, you know, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces of glass that have to be perfect. We have 8,000 suppliers. Some of those are supplying this glass. Glass is a thermal process. They need to know what's going on thermally. Okay, they can use it. The paint job, curing that paint is critical. That's the first thing our customers will see when we walk in a showroom or up on a street corner. So that's got to be perfect. Making those tires. Look how many tires, or 4 tires. Some of our vehicles have spares. Vulcanizing that is another thermal process. Injection molding. Just gluing the panels on the inside of that vehicle is a thermal process. They use a heat-sensitive adhesive. If that's not put on right and it's not the right temperature, panels fall apart. Roof liners fall apart. So heat, making these vehicles is just critical. And the one technology to see it and understand it, and see how the heat's flowing, is infrared. Now, I wrote this slide a few years ago. We used to be the world's largest corporation. I don't know if we're going to get back there or not. I think we're about 4th or 5th now. But we're back making 20,000 vehicles a day. So if you think about all those pieces of glass, all those tires, just to make 20,000 vehicles a day is quite a challenge. North American Ops, we have about 70 plants right now in the US. Our market share is down to about 21, 22%. We were 30 plus. Hourly workers, about half of that number, and salaries down about 35,000. So things have changed, and we're trying to get back to where we were one time. So today we're going to just cover some company background, history of infrared, how it developed within GM, some of the programs that we introduced and how we're using them, some of the obstacles later in the talk, and what the future looks like for infrared. So what do I mean by saving dollars? The first thing is cutting scrap. If we can solve a quality issue, I've seen processes where we're making 100% scrap because they didn't understand thermally what was going on in the process. We come in, solve it. Sometimes it just takes a few minutes to see what's going on, adjust the temperature slightly, and make good product. Increasing throughput also saves dollars. If we can cut cycle time out of a die casting operation, start putting more metal through those dies because we're thinking thermally, we're saving money right from the get-go. Solving a quality problem. Some of these problems are millions, tens of millions of dollars, and we can solve those sometimes in an afternoon. Sometimes it's a 2 or 3 week study, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. Addressing safety issues. Certainly we want to keep our workers safe. No fines out there, no OSHA issues. Looking at things like bus ducts and that are certainly safety related. You have a bus duct that might be not bolted right or not torqued correctly. It can melt copper and start fires in our plants. So we'll talk about that later too. Increasing uptime of machinery is critical. Making sure that machinery's full utilization. For that, it has to be up and ready to make parts for us. So preventive maintenance, predictive maintenance is critical using infrared. And fast to market. If we can understand a process and if we're planning on bringing it to market in 5 weeks and we can cut a couple of weeks out of that, we've got production coming with good product that we can sell right away. And not only at GM, but our suppliers too. We have a huge supplier base. Anytime I get a phone call that there's a hiccup, they're holding production back, then we're on an airplane and flying out and trying to solve that, and a lot of times with infrared technology. So fast to market's pretty critical.